Welcome to Soul School and the teachings on Crysticism.
All right, so today we're going to dive right into the core ideas of Crysticism to really understand this hidden conflict that's happening inside all of us. We're going to explore the soul as a crystal. We're going to meet that inner shadow self, figure out what the stakes are in this internal war, and then discover the path forward. Okay, let's get into it. So first things first, let's get a real handle on the central idea here, the core metaphor of Crysticism. I want you to try and picture this. Your soul. It isn't just some vague, fuzzy concept. Think of it as a real, tangible thing, a mystical, hollow crystal sphere. It's basically a container for everything you are and everything you could possibly be. But here's where it gets really interesting. This crystal has two parts. At its heart is a pure inner sphere. That's the real you, the part that's meant to grow. But on the outside, a shell can form, all gunked up with what the teachings call misqualified energy. Basically, the residue from selfish, cruel, or just numb actions. And the real danger here is that the soul can start to think that crusty outer shell is its true self, which just stops its growth cold. Yeah, I know, this might be sounding a little out there. As one student, Abby, put it, it's kind of like therapy with special effects. And you know what? That's a great way to think about it. But this metaphor is absolutely crucial. The whole goal is to fill that pure inner sphere with so much positive energy, so much light, that the pressure actually shatters that corrupted outer shell from the inside out. All right, now that we've set the stage, let's meet the two characters who are competing for control inside that crystal sphere. The teachings say the soul has something like a split personality. You've got your divine, virtuous part, and then you've got this selfish, egotistical shadow dweller. And this right here? This explains that strange feeling you sometimes get, the one where you feel like a puppet on a string, where one part of you is acting and the other part is just watching in horror, thinking, why am I doing this? So where does the shadow dweller even come from? Let's build a picture. Imagine you have a basement in your soul, and into that basement you've thrown every failure, every trauma, every single disappointment you have ever experienced. Now these things aren't just sitting in neat little boxes, no way. Down there in the dark, all those negative emotions start to swirl together. They connect, they merge, and they actually start feeding off of each other. And all that swirling negativity eventually links up and becomes a single active entity, a literal monster in the basement of your soul. It's a creature made entirely out of our own regrets, bad habits, and broken promises. And here's the most important part. You can't just lock the basement door and ignore it. It won't work. The only way to deal with this monster is through what that student Abby cleverly called garbage recycling for the soul. You have to actually transmute that negative energy, transform it back into something pure and usable. So you've got these two opposing forces in a constant tug of war. Let's really break down how this battle for control of your body and soul actually plays out. Okay, look at this breakdown. The contrast is pretty stark, right? Your virtuous side runs on pure energy, and it requires conscious, willful action. It takes work. The shadow side, though, it takes the easy way out. It hijacks your subconscious patterns, it feeds on selfish desires, and get this, it can even reuse corrupted energy. It feels easier, it's the path of least resistance, but it's all an illusion. So let's be crystal clear about what this shadow ego is really made of. This isn't some external demon that's latched onto you. It is composed entirely of your stuff. Your false beliefs, your bad habits, your traumatic memories, and even your own personal energy that you've trapped through your actions. The bottom line is, we created it. Now, you might be thinking, well, at least this all ends when this life is over, right? Not exactly. This inner war doesn't just stop. Let's see how this responsibility carries over into the afterlife. And here's the big catch. You can't just ditch the monster at the gates of the afterlife. The soul cannot be split. Karmic law is very clear on this. The whole package, the good, the bad, and the monstrous, is your responsibility. It all goes with you. However, there is this really fascinating process. After death, the shadow ego is temporarily put into sleep mode, like suspended animation. This frees your pure soul from its influence so you can have a kind of cosmic debrief with heavenly counselors. You get to review your past lives and plan the next one with total clarity. But, and this is a big but, when your soul re-embodies, that shadow monster gets reattached. It's waiting for you. So, since you can't escape the shadow and you can't just leave it behind, there's really only one option left. You have to master it. And that right there is the core work of Crysticism. And this is exactly why this work is so personal. No outside force can just come in and remove the shadow for you. Think about it. The soul created it, so the soul has to be the one to uncreate it through free will, choice, and discipline. If someone just took it away, a part of you would always want it back because you hadn't learned the lesson. You have to be the one to let it go. So the goal isn't just winning a few battles here and there. The ultimate goal, as Lord Yellow says, is to achieve total mastery. You have to prove through your own actions that you will never allow the shadow to take control again. You have to demonstrate complete mastery over those human desires and vices. So where do you start with all this? It feels huge, right? But believe it or not, this entire massive mystical war for your soul, it begins with one single simple act, asking the question. The very fact that you're wondering, where do I start, means you've already begun. That's the first step. And from here, the path to mastery isn't about finding some secret answer. It's about consciously choosing every single day which side you're going to feed, the light or the shadow. That's the core of this whole owner's manual. Every choice you make either strengthens that pure inner crystal or it adds another layer of gunk to the shell. So the real question isn't, how do I start? It's, which part of myself will I choose to build right now, today?